Hello and welcome to the 45th gathering of the Adventure Party on this, the 26th of March. I'm your party leader, Brad Ludwig. We ask that you peace tie your swords, holster your blasters, and make sure your sheets and maps have been uploaded while you are gathered at the meeting table. Our guest this week is Michael Johnson, and he is a podcaster, artist, web developer, web designer, and gamer. That's a lot of hats.
That's a lot of hats.
And I got a chance to meet Michael on his podcast called Trivia Geeks, which I highly recommend you listening to because it's a lot of fun. And I got a chance to watch him do some gameplay of Tom Clancy's The Division just recently, and God, he's really good.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, compared to me, you're absolutely fucking amazing. He introduced me to Obsidian Portal earlier today, and it's a site where GMs get a chance to basically create an online portal which allows you to organize character sheets and do a game journal and upload maps for the game. And it's just like an all-in-one place for you to just have all your gaming materials at the ready. And we wanted to talk to him about how he uses the particular service that he does, Obsidian Portal, and just kind of discuss some of the benefits of using a system like that and some of his gaming experiences as well. So welcome to the show, Michael.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
The second in command here is Glenn Bittner. He is a movie reviewer on his YouTube show, The B-Movie Bunker, and the creator of the RPG Mistrunner. How are you, sir?
Doing all right.
That you lack conviction in your voice. I don't quite believe you, Glenn.
I am ready to rock and or roll.
Okay. It was either that or maybe you needed a hug. I wasn't sure.
Oh.
I always need hugs.
And I would give you one, sir. On that awkward note, all right, hey, we're going to do our regular roundtable with start off with our game review and do some game news, and we changed something up here so the YouTube folks actually get to hear Ryan Murphy's his gaming news. So that should be fun instead of that pause that you've always heard. That's for the people that listen to the audio portion. You actually get that in post, so this should be interesting, our first time running this. So let's jump right into it. Glenn, you have a new review for us for a game called Five Tribes. Tell us more.
Five Tribes. Brought to us by Days of Wonder. This is a game, despite the name Five Tribes, it's only for 2 to 4 players. Which annoyed me because it took me 5 tries to actually get to play this game because we always have 5 people and I'd be the one sitting out. So the joys of working in a store where you're showing people how to play means often you don't get to play. It is designed by Bruno Cathala, who I've talked about before. He's done some of my favorite 2-player games, Naya, Longhorn, Mr. Jack. He also did Abyss, which I've reviewed before on here, and one that you're familiar with, Brad, Shadows over Camelot.
Yep.
So, good pedigree there. Basically, 5 tribes. A little story that they have to go with. It is crossing into the land of 1,001 nights. Your caravan arrived at the fabled Sultanate of Naqala. The old Sultan has just died, and control of Naqala is up for grabs. The oracles foretold of strangers who would maneuver the 5 tribes to gain influence over the legendary city-state. Will you fulfill the prophecy? Invoke the old genes to move the tribes into position at the right time, and the Sultanate may become yours. This game uses, so it's German style, so you've got a lot of little wooden meeples in this game. So it's kind of, in a way, worker placement. However, it's a little different. The game board is made up of individual tiles. The tiles all have special abilities associated with them that you might add palm trees or palaces to the board to increase the points of the tiles. It might let you do specific things like go to the market or recruit one of the ancient jinn to help you in your cause. But the way you use the tiles is what really makes this game interesting. Is it uses For those who aren't familiar, there's an ancient game, one of the oldest games ever, called Naqala, where you pick stones up and then you have to move them around and try to get them into these different cups so you can score points. And it uses that
I've seen
mechanic.
That. Okay.
You actually, so on your turn, you will take all the meeples off one tile, and then you will figure out where you want to go, and you will drop one meeple on every tile you pass until you get to where you want to be. And when you drop your last meeple there, you take all the meeples of one specific color, and you add and you take those, and then that determines partly what you can do on your turn. You have some, like white meeples, they're worth points. They also can be used to recruit djinns. Gold or yellow meeples are simply worth points. They're elders. You have reds, which are assassins, which let you kill off either someone else's elders or their white meeples, or kill other meeples on the board. You have green ones, which are merchants, which let you get things from the market. So it's all based on what you want to do on your turn. You figure out where you need to take from, where you have to get to. If you ever hit the last meeple off of a tile, you put one of your camels on it to claim that tile as yours. Basically, the tiles are worth points at the end of the game, as are, as I said, yellow meeples, white meeples, and djinns as well, plus goods that you get from the market. So there's lots of ways to score points. It also uses a bidding strategy to determine play turn every time, every turn. So starting with the first player each turn, he will bid. There is a track where you can bid. You can bid 1 coin, or 3 coins, or 5 coins, or 0. And whatever he wants to do, he places himself on that spot, pays whatever he decided to pay, and the next player then places their bid. Now, obviously, if I take the 3 spot, you can't take that one. If you want to go before me, you have to pay 5. If you don't care about going after me, you'd pay 1 or maybe 0.
Okay.
The trick with 0 is that if you take 0, if you're the first person, you take 0 because you don't want to spend the money. If I decide to take 0 as well, I actually push you out of the way and move you further down the 0 track. Now, if you don't mind being last, that's fine. But if you're hoping that no one else will take 0, you might find yourself, it's like, well, I'll still go before you because I can push you off of that. If 3 people all claim 0, the last person has to pay because there's only 3 spots on the 0 track. But the game, there's so many different ways to score points and to win the game, because you can get points from the djinn, which can be worth a fair amount of points, but there's a lot of points in the tiles too. So it's all a balance of figuring out where you're going to get your points from, because you can't just do one. If you just do one thing, you're not going to score enough points. You have to have some mix, but you want to focus a little heavy on something. So there's so many different ways to win, because the djinn all have each one has their own special ability. So some may let you do like double assassinations when you use the assassin meeples, or they may let you score extra points, or all these different, put extra palm trees or palaces out. But only a specific number of djinn will come out each game, so they're always different as well. So you don't always have the same djinns when you play. So there's just so much variety. I like the fact that it has such replayability. As I said, I've played it now 3 times, and I've taught it 6 or 7.
Okay.
And I have seen so many different combinations be the winner. I saw one person who went real heavy with the elders, and then trying to get some of the djinn, and had almost no tiles at all. But because they had the elders and they had enough djinn, they managed to pull out the victory. I had someone else who focused almost entirely on tiles, and then just got some goods as well. So they had some goods to sell at the end for money, because money is your victory points as well. So just a lot of variety, a lot of replayability, which makes this a really cool game. And it plays fairly quick. I'd say 45 minutes to an hour generally is about how long this one takes. Sometimes a little longer. I mean, obviously, first time through can be a little longer, but it all depends on whether or not you have someone who, people who can make up their mind. Sometimes people get a little caught up on trying to map out exactly where they can go with what meeples to do what they want. It's a little easy at the start of the game because there's so many options, but as the board gets thinner and thinner and thinner as far as what's available to take, then people start to think a bit more and more, because now you're trying to work out, well, how can I get to what I want?
Sure.
Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're like, I really need to get some white meeples, but you're looking at the board and you're going, there's no way for me to do it, because the only ones that have it don't get me where I want to go. So
So it's easy to fall into analysis paralysis, is what you're saying.
It very much is. So there are certain people I'd be less inclined to play this with.
Pat Rothfuss.
I wasn't naming any names.
Behold the curse of the black crayon. All right. Story for another day. So what does this approximately retail for, Glenn?
$65.
Okay, so still well within that range that we keep talking about for good board games. And looking at the amount of meeples that you get, as the Germans are apt to do, that's a really good price. So, and like you said, high replayability, a lot of fun, and for a smaller group of people getting together to game, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we played this one at Freaksmas.
Oh, you did?
We did.
Was that Friday?
Friday
Night?
Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, okay. Probably was at, yeah, we got there later. Anyways, way behind the scenes stuff, never mind. So, hey, Michael.
Yeah.
We've established that you do a lot of RPG stuff, and you do a lot of PC console gaming. How about board gaming?
I just the one board game I've been playing a lot lately is D&D Castle Ravenloft.
Okay.
From my friends and I've been enjoying that a whole lot. It's kind of a fun time getting everybody together with this game and how it has its modular gameplay with the map element that goes on. And what I understand that there's at least two other D&D games that use a similar tile set as far as how that works that are relatively interchangeable. So I've been wanting to get a hold of those at some point. I just got a new game for my birthday last month called hang on, let me grab it here.
Okay.
It's called Small World.
Oh,
yes.
Fantastic.
Yep. We have a copy of it here too.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, Small World. And it's still wrapped in plastic, so I haven't had the chance to take it out yet. But it looks like a lot of fun from what my friend was showing me.
Small World is what I refer to as Risk done right.
Well, that sounds good then. It's been a long time since I played Risk, and I remember just rule hacking the hell out of it. So.
And the D&D board games, the ones that you don't have there's Wrath of a Shardalon, which has a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
There is, you said you have Castle Ravenloft, right?
Right, which also has a dragon.
Yes. There is The Legend of Drizzt.
Oh, right, yeah, there's a Drizzy one.
Dark Elf.
Yeah.
And then the newest one is Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yes.
For any old school gamers will remember
back in my day.
Yes, back in our day.
I have a bunch of Elemental Evil spell cards right here.
There you go. Nice.
So yeah, there are three others.
I was so pleased when after that they came out with that. It's nice to see that Wizards of the Coast with D&D 5 are actually dipping back into the legacy stuff, bringing back some of the old creatures and God, Ravenloft. Oh my God, that was such a great setting to play in.
Ravenloft was such a fun setting. We had a fun time just running around in Ravenloft one time. My character was a Nezumi. We were playing some weird Gestalt game when we were running around Ravenloft. So my character was a Nezumi, which is a rat. Mm-hmm. It was a rogue with mixed with a samurai. So I basically spent all my skill points in Iaijutsu focus. And I could always have my claws as like a ready sneak attack weapon, and it was the most broken character that I'd ever created in my life.
Yeah, speaking of Ravenloft, we had James Lauder on 4 episodes ago, and he wrote the Night of the Black Rose Ravenloft novel, and he's done some other D&D stuff, and yeah, we reminisced a bit of the old Ravenloft days.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. All right. Well, thank you very much, Glenn.
Absolutely, Brad.
And we'd like to talk to you briefly about getting some support from you, the listener, or YouTube viewer for that matter. If you enjoy what you hear or see, hopefully you consider helping us with some of our web and audio hosting. With your support, for as little as $1 a month, you can help defray some of those costs and help keep things running. If you do decide to do a $3 monthly support, you can get a monthly newsletter which has extra stories related to all of the different podcasts that we at Galactic Netcasts have. And if you do $5, you can get an extra bonus episode of each of our different podcasts that we have. So take some time and go to patreon.com/galacticnetcast and support us at whatever level you feel you are able to. We'd appreciate it. All right, the news. Yeah, I just got sucked into finally playing BioShock Infinite, which I bought on Steam on one of their wallet-draining sales that they did a while back. Probably, gosh, I think I bought it like a year and a half ago, and I'm finally now starting to play it. And of course, it's like sucking my life away. And kind of in opposition to that, as it were, Anessa just bought Fallout 4 for our PS4. So she's going to play her game, I'm going to play my game, and we'll probably see each other a couple of times this next week. But anyways, speaking of Fallout 4, they just released the DLC of the Automatron, which, I've seen some gameplay videos of that, and for those of you who...
So have I, on my computer.
It's creepy.
I've played Fallout 3, and I played Tactics, Fallout, and Fallout 1. So I've kind of got to see some of the evolution of the Fallout series, and once I finally get my hands on Fallout 4 and lose a good 2 weeks of my life,
Fallout 3 was the only one I ever played and actually went all the way through with the intention to get to the end and beat it, and was very dissatisfied.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Well,
if you didn't play any of the DLC from Fallout 3, the ending in Fallout 3 is very, very disappointing.
I also have a very odd relationship with Bethesda games, because the first one I ever played was Oblivion, and I played a little bit of it and was kind of, I didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, so put that away. And then Fallout 3 came out and played some of that, and I put that away. And then Skyrim came out and I played some of that and put that away. And then Fallout 4 came out, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to play Fallout 3, I'm going to beat it. So I played Fallout 3, beat it, and found out that it was only like a dozen quests long. Was kind of sad because I didn't feel like going through all the side quests and going down rabbit holes and getting out everywhere.
Yeah, and that's really where it's shown so brightly, is all the different rabbit holes that you could go down. I mean, you could, if you went to a certain area of the map, you could get a laser gun, and you got like, the Star Trek. I think it was it the Galileo that had crashed or something like that, and you got to see some of that.
That sounds right.
and
I get it. I get it that as far as Bethesda games, though, they kind of want you to go down that side quest rabbit hole, and that's the way they want you to play their game. And that wasn't. I mean, it just wasn't the way I wanted to play. I wanted a full, enriching story. I didn't want to have to go out and kind of find my own story and piece things together in that respect, the way they have it, and the way they have it arranged. So.
Yeah, and you raise a good point on user experience. If you want to. If you want to play the game your way, you shouldn't have to get shoehorned into doing other stuff to enjoy and get the most out of it. So, no, you raise a good point there.
They're fine games. They're well made. They just I loved. I didn't even finish Fallout 3. I got probably about a quarter of the way through.
and then life got in the way, and I stopped playing. And now I don't have a PS3 anymore, so I'd have to get a different copy of it. Or I'm not sure if that one ported over if you had the original.
It's on
PS3
Xbox
disc.
360. I have that.
Yeah, I got the PS3 before I got an Xbox 360.
You can find it for like $10 on Xbox
Oh
360.
God! See, now there's another like 2 weeks of my life I would lose going back through that. Oh God!
And you have to get the DLC.
Yeah, I know.
Because the ending of the original game is so dissatisfying because
It kind of ends, but not really.
well, it ends because of the fact that there's a reactor leak and you have to go turn it off.
Yep.
Which will kill you because the
Oh,
radiation is too severe. Now,
or you don't turn it off, which will kill everybody else.
to kill everyone else. Now, the annoying thing is that there's a companion you can get who's a super mutant who is not affected by radiation.
Oh,
So
yeah, I got him.
You just think, oh, I'll just send Fox in there, and Fox can turn it off because he won't die from the radiation. But what does he say when you say, hey, you should do this? He says, no, it's your turn to be a hero. I'm like, I've been a hero the whole damn time.
This is me being a hero telling you to do this thing, bro.
A hero is not someone who throws their life away needlessly when there's someone else who's, oh yeah, I'll just, you're wearing a bulletproof vest, but you know what? I'll stand in front of you so the bullets can hit me instead. What? No!
My Fox didn't even make it that far. He died in the raid outside of the Jefferson Memorial while everybody was trying to get in, and
Ooh.
there was the big giant robot was walking around.
Oh yeah.
He got killed there. I was very sad. He was kind of a cool character.
Well, getting back to this, the Automatron DLC for Fallout 4, it's an opportunity for you to kind of have an extension of building things in the wasteland. That's really kind of what some of the core focus and some of the new gameplay. Before you played the game, you experienced the wasteland and traveled in it, but you didn't really get to build anything. So in Fallout 4, you get the opportunity to build your own base of operations, work on gathering people for a village that you create, and try to build that up. So there's a lot of building.
It's
and
basically SimCity.
Yeah, it is. Oh, you cheapened it just a little bit for me.
I'm sorry.
And no disrespect to SimCity. But this extension, the Automatron, you get a chance to build your own robot, and you can actually have it battle other folks if you do like a multiplayer. So that's really kind of interesting.
I can just see the underground robot fighting rings start out from this.
Yeah, that's making me think of oh my god.
Was it Real Steel?
Nah,
Like them robots.
that and oh my god.
Robot Jocks.
The old show?
No, it's not. It's the Disney, not the Pixar. Just came out with Big Hero 6.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay. In the beginning, there's like a kind of back alley robot fighting thing, which that kind of popped into my head. So.
Hashtag Robot Lives Matter.
It's true. It's true. The struggle is real. So Bethesda, created this system so that if you have certain skills and abilities for building and some of the other skill trees that you can climb up, you can actually build robots and build more advanced robots or robots with different skills and things like that. And that was really kind of cool. So this is a review from, this is Kotaku, and the reviewer is Patricia Hernandez. The world of Fallout is brimming with amazing characters, and Fallout 4's first DLC has now added one more great character to the list. Automatron is a curious beast. The bulk of what you'll play is standard Fallout 4. there are 2 dungeons, both of which are rather straightforward, if not a little boring in their design. The most interesting aspect of the spaces you explore is that they are infested with robots. The more robots you kill, the more parts you pick up, and the more robots you can build back in your settlements. This is where Bethesda seemed to put most of its efforts in giving the player a buffet of robotic options, from death machines to sexy companions. Anything you can think of. See, now we're taking like the Cherry 2000 route there. That's kind of creepy.
Nightmare fuel.
You could probably build. It's a cool
my
idea.
wife you're talking about.
Robots creep me out, I'm sorry.
And there's no shame in that whatsoever. I'm sure some players will get a lot of mileage out of it. Patricia says that she didn't, because the primary thing your mechs can do is kill other things, and as you know, she's pretty over Fallout 4's intense focus on action. I have no desire to build a cool robot and go out into the wasteland I've already explored, and the DLC itself is only a few hours long. Still, I'm glad I played Automatron because it meant I got to know the truth about the Mechanist. And the Mechanist is now one of my favorite characters in Fallout 4. I clipped the article off here because beyond this was spoilers. And I'm really hoping, and I didn't want to read any more on it either because I am going to be playing this and I definitely want to get this DLC. It's, what is it, Fallout New Vegas. What is it, Old World Blues or Old... Damn. It was a DLC where you were kind of kidnapped and you were cut apart, essentially.
Yep.
And you had to... and you're put into a robot body. And you have to do this these tasks for these... basically these scientists who turn themselves into brains in jars, essentially, and do some things to fix some problems that have come up, and then you can put yourself back together and amble back on into the wasteland. But the voice cast that they got to do that, they got Maurice LaMarche to do a voice, Jackson Public, he's the one that Urbanic, the guy who does the voice for Dr. Venture.
Yes.
And a couple other like professional voice actors to do it, and it's just beautiful. If you get a chance, look for the YouTube video of I want to say it's Old World Blues from New
I believe
Vegas.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, Old World Blues. And I almost dropped the $10 on Steam to get New Vegas, and then was going to buy Old World Blues as the DLC add-on for like $5 just to go through it. So if you want to extend your gameplay and do some interesting things, the DLCs that Bethesda usually comes up with for their games are usually really good, and it's kind of cool to know that they haven't slouched on Automatron. So I'm kind of interested in giving that a whirl. And then building robots. I mean, come on. So there you have it. We're going to have the link to the rest of the article in the show notes, and this is on. But just if you're gonna search this out on your own, it's on Kotaku.com, and the name of the article is Fallout 4's Robot DLC is worth playing just to meet the Mechanist. So there you go. We're going to finish out our news with the Galactic Gaming news from Ryan Murphy, and he covers more of the digital beat. It's really odd that I picked a digital story, but I was playing BioShock and I got kind of in that mindset, so I grabbed that story. But Ryan Murphy does a regular contribution to Galactic Netcasts, and here he is with his new report. So take it away, Ryan.
I've been doing other podcasts, but this one has certainly been off the books for a bit. But I'm back. I'm going to try to make this weekly, or at least bi-weekly. But yeah, without further delay, let's get back into Galactic Gaming News. First up, Halo 5 to receive Firefight update this summer. This is amazing. Halo 5 Guardians' newest multiplayer is Warzone Firefight, and 343 Industries showed it off in a new trailer released during the Halo World Championship Finals, which I did not watch or know what was going on. Again, been busy. The new mode is a combination of Warzone from Halo 5 and Firefight, a very popular mode from 2009's Halo 3 ODST. One of the best parts about that game. In it, teams of up to 8 human players work cooperatively against enemy AI in over 5 rounds of increasingly difficult objectives. This new mode will also support the rec system, which is found in Warzone for Halo 5. Now, this is really exciting, gives me a new excuse to jump back into Halo 5 and use all those awesome rec, REQ items. So this is exciting. I can't wait, and it's due out in the summer. I don't know when that would probably fall, probably June-ish. So we'll see. Second, speaking of DLC, Star Wars Battlefront travels to the Outer Rim this month. A new DLC pack drops this month in the form of Outer Rim, which introduces 4 new maps, 2 heroes, and Extraction game mode. The new maps take place among the factories of Sullust and within Jabba the Hutt's Tatooine Palace. Greedo and Nia Nub are the 2 new heroes. Wow, really scraping the bottom of the barrel on that one. I don't know. That just feels like they kind of did the big trinity of, Luke, Han, and Leia, and then also all the big trinity for the bad guys. And you're kind of left with, I don't know, pay $20 for Nia Nub. That sounds great. Where's General Akbar at? Finally, the first piece of DLC for Fallout 4 launches March 22nd. Automatron. The first paid add-on for Fallout 4 is out now on PS4, Windows PC, and Xbox One. It costs $10 for non-Season Pass holders, so if you haven't bit the bullet on that now new expensive Season Pass, you can just pick this one up on its own. The mysterious Mechanist has unleashed a horde of evil robots into the Commonwealth, including the devious Robo-Brain. Hunt them down and harvest their parts to build and mod your own custom robot companions. Choose from hundreds of mods mixing limbs, armor abilities, and weapons such as all-new Lightning Chain Gun. Even customize their paint schemes and choose their voices. Sounds interesting. It sounds like more of a customization type add-on than it is story or gameplay, so we'll see how that goes. I'll have to check that out and see what it's like. But yeah. This has been Galactic Gaming News, a weekly segment for Galactic Netcasts. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact info, and subscription links, go to gncast.com/ggn. Have a story, suggestion, or comment about the show, send them to ggn@gncast.com, and I'll be happy to read them on the show. And before we head out, thank you to the Galactic Netcast patrons over at patreon.com/galactic Netcasts. If you want more Galactic Gaming News, becoming a patron at $3 a month grants you access to the Galactic Netcast monthly newsletter for more Galactic Gaming News stories. So if you want more Galactic Netcast coverage, you need to get over to that Patreon and throw some support in there. Thank you very much to those who have already done so. For everything I do, go to ryanmurphy.ca or follow me on Twitter at @rmurphy. If you're interested in more video game goodness, be sure to check out the Gamers In at gamersinpodcast.com. Each week, Jocelyn Moffat and I run down the games we've been playing, chat industry news, and take questions or comments from listeners like you. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you next week.
Okay, so lesson learned. I will avoid doing digital gaming news because it looks like Ryan covered that too. Yeah. Shame on me. All right, thanks, Ryan. Hey, Kickstarter Spotlight. Last time we talked about Lil Cthulhu, and that was one that you brought to the table, Glenn. So
That was.
What's that all about?
It's the quirky and evil card game about losing something that you can't win, mostly. You have to, basically you're a cultist, and you have to take care of Cthulhu's baby, who will throw tantrums and make you go insane. And the only way to appease him is to give him evil toys. They were looking for $23,800. They have hit their goal with $26,585 with 5 days left to go. Getting into the game, it's $25. You get a copy of the card game. It comes with quite a bit. I mean, you have 126 cards, so along with sanity tokens. $25, you get a pretty decent amount. They have not reached, well, they reached one stretch goal, which is basically just paying for the game. If they can get to 30,000, they're going to change the box. I don't think they're going to get much beyond that, but that's Little Cthulhu. Sorry, Lil Cthulhu, not Little. Lil.
Lil. It's like Lil Wayne.
Yes.
It's not Little.
Not Lil Wayne.
It's Lil.
Lil Wayne, Lil John.
All right. Well,
Okay.
it's a lot of Lils in there.
Kind of odd sidebar tangent. I was playing Final Fantasy XI way back when, and there was a whole link shell of Tarus with Lil something or other. All named Lil something. They were great.
Wow. Glenn and I are both like H.P. Lovecraft fans, so I didn't quite. Did you back this one, Glenn?
Not yet, but it's set for my reminder to remind me of the 24-hour point, in which case I will.
Yeah, I'm torn, and I may or may not. It's cool that they've got things set up so that it is EU friendly. So they will have the cost for shipping is not going to be increased because they're going to have kind of a foothold in the EU, and it's not going to cost you that much more to get it shipped to you. So that's kind of cool. We are going to talk about a new game called Unbound RPG. Now, this is from Tabletop Games in London, UK, and this is we talked with Chris Tregenza for 66 games, and it's a universal system, and this is as well. It will allow you to do things like GURPS. For those of you who have played GURPS, it's a universal rule set, so you can do some interesting things like, well, not unlike Mistrunner, for that matter. You have steampunk, you have fantasy, you have a number of different genres that you can put together. So let me read you a little of the write-up here for this. The game we have written is called Unbound, and it is stellar. Here's why. It's a universal game, and before you say, oh, we don't need another universal game, let me say, no, you don't. You need this one. And it runs anything so long as it's got fights in it, and all the best stories have fights in them, so there. Want to tell a story about a corrupt cyberpunk police officers in overclocked power armor? You can do that. Princesses riding spellbound unicorns? Yep. As long as you let us play too. Captains in charge of elite military units taking back a fractured city? Block by bloody block. So you have a lot of different things that you can do with this universal rule system. It intrigued me. I just like the concept of having a universal game system, and that's why I brought this one to the table. Being able to dream up whatever you want to as a game master and let people play in that world, but have an open rule set so that you can do it with relative ease is very appealing. Their goal is $31,792. Now this is adjusted from this is pounds, obviously, because it's from London, UK. So I'm going to give you some little converted bits here. In pounds, it's, let's see, they have a 22,000 pound goal. That's why the number seems very weirdly specific. But in pounds, it's 22,000. So right now they're at 12,287 pounds, which is equivalent to 17,756. There's 25 days to go on this particular campaign, so things are looking very good that they will hit this goal. Now, there are a number of levels that you can back at, but the one that you probably want to back at is £25 or $36. That gets you the full PDF, all the stretch goals, and the full color paperback edition of the game. Now, you could do the $29, which gets you just the PDF and the softback, but the cool thing about going at the $36 level is you get access to director's commentary, which is intriguing to me. I have no idea what that is, probably more background into the game, the creation of it, and whatnot. But that just sounds kind of interesting. That I've never heard anybody do that for a Kickstarter before. So things are looking good on this, and it's relatively inexpensive to get you in the door on a universal rule system. So, Michael, you
Yes.
are you're big into D&D, as we've kind of discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you are from the trivia game that I was in on Trivia Geeks. You are definitely into Pathfinder.
No.
Oh, you're not?
No.
I totally misremembered that. Obviously, I wasn't paying it. Well, Hammond and I did not win, so I must not have been. I didn't bring my A game there, obviously, and I must not have been paying attention to that specific fact.
No, it's fine.
So D&D, what other game systems have you or do you play in?
Currently, it's just D&D, primarily 5th edition. Before that, it was 3.5, because anything in 4th edition is complete and total crap, in my opinion. I've also played, and it's been a long time, but I've played with GURPS a couple times, but this was like 15 years ago.
Sure.
And I forgot what system Big Eye Small Mouth is, but it's their tri-stat system, whatever that's called. Which it's been about 15 years since I played with that too. But yeah, primarily D&D 5th edition, because it's really easy to pick up. It's as easy as 3.5 edition was, just to at least pick up, and it does streamline a lot of the more menial character creation in that respect too, which is what they were trying to do with 4th edition and kind of failed by making the characters too narrow.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've heard too, and yeah, Glenn and I were 2nd edition, 3.5. Did you do 3, Glenn?
I have played every edition ever made.
Well, there you go. You are far better than I, sir.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of difference between 3 and 3.5.
I had the internet. I had a father who worked for a book bindery that printed the books.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, third edition was my first jump into it.
Okay.
I have an old 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons folio sitting around here somewhere that I picked up from somebody who has, oh hey, I have this Dungeons and Dragons thing in my garage. You want it? Okay, sure.
That's always cool to stumble across and have that for your collection. Yeah, I've got some of my old second edition.
Some people get kidnapped, you know.
Actually, it may be first.
For you.
Maybe 1st edition.
Hey,
Ooh.
up in my van, I have some dice.
Dungeons and Dragons. Like, it's a whole adventure module.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Dungeon
That's,
Land.
yep. That's some of the old 2nd edition. Those 2nd edition modules were something else.
FACO's the worst.
Yeah, not gonna lie. That part of having a smaller THACO into negative numbers was far better than a larger one, which, playing Pathfinder, which is essentially 3.5 D&D, obviously now they've done away with that, so it's all the higher the number, the better it is. Yeah, Thaco. You try to explain Thaco to somebody who has never seen second edition and they've played like fifth edition or something like that. They look at you like you're absolutely
it's backwards from what you would expect.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And then armor class at -7. That sounds awful. No, it was great.
And then trying to do the math and comparing that to somebody else, and then rolling your dice against it, and the level of math that you had to do was just it was atrocious. Not gonna lie. But to me, but that's where I cut my teeth on second edition. So like the artwork of especially Larry Elmore, if I ever see that really just kind of takes me back to D&D second edition.
Okay.
And it's one of those things. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of artist folios or books that have come out from artists that have done like fifth edition.
As far as fifth edition content in print that I've seen, your 3 core books, there's the Temple of Elemental Evil and the Tiamat one.
There's also
that I've seen.
Out of the Abyss, and the newest one is Curse of Strahd. So you get to go back into Ravenloft.
Yeah, they're bringing a few old things back, so
which I might start running via Hangout or Skype, Brad.
I'm gonna have like 0 negative free time here pretty quick. God,
our last jump in the Ravenloft, we had somebody who created a vassal of Bahamut, which was a ridiculously stupid broken class, and it ended up being actually just a dumb class on top of it being broken. So he killed his character, assumed his dragon mount as a character, except it was a gold dragon, and we had a lot of problems with the gold dragon running around in Ravenloft. Or in Ravenloft.
That actually hurt my head.
Just this bright beacon of goodness, everyone was attracted to it. We had one character that was technically so evil. We offed one of the lords of Ravenloft, and he just assumed control over that realm.
Oh, that is insane! Absolutely.
To the point where, as he walked around, he would just attract followers.
Sure. Yeah, that was one of the creepy things about Ravenloft they touch on it in James's book, The Night of the Black Rose, where he was just so evil that it just like a realm, his section of land in Ravenloft just kind of slowly started to appear around him.
Yep. That's kind of what we did. Like he put all of his points into charisma, and got I don't remember what feat it was. But it was the feat that just literally it just allows you to attract followers as you move about through the countryside, and that's that's what it did. The dragon would be the beacon to bring all the evil, and then all of a sudden they would see this they would see this greater evil there near this dragon and be like, I will follow you.
Oh, that is insane. So anyway, universal systems. So you mentioned GURPS. You as a game master, and I know that you've already mentioned D&D is more of your jam. Does a universal system appeal to you in concept?
I mean, it depends, I guess, on the system. It's been a long time since I've messed with GURPS, so I couldn't even remember how that even works now. There was one other smaller game book that I had found called Feng Shui, and the whole idea behind Feng Shui was that you were a combat action movie star.
Okay.
Well, it was not really a movie star. It was based around the idea of like kung fu action movies, and how you were to arrange your gameplay and decide what you were doing. And it was only based around 2d6, and it did a good job building a game around 2d6 from the way I remember it, at least. So there is something to say about some of the more simpler styles as well. You know, you start getting into crazier stuff like was it Rifts?
Yeah.
Where you had like 10-page long character sheets. It gets a little bit obsessive there.
Yeah, a little bit. It most certainly can. Yeah, I would kind of be interested in checking this out and seeing more about the ability to do more universal and crazier things. Glenn.
Yeah.
Universal systems.
I hate them. No, that's not true. I like them a lot. I actually just picked up Fate.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Fate core book. So,
yep.
I like them if they're done right. It's sometimes they think they've got a great thing that can be done that you can do anything with, but then some things fall apart. Because if you're going to make something that can work with robots as well as wizards, it can be a tricky balance.
Yeah.
Oh, D20 Modern.
Yeah. So, I like them, but most of the time when I've played them, there's always been some level of tinkering that has gone on with the rules, some level of house ruling on certain stuff.
Okay.
Because, as much as you want to have a universal system, you can't actually cover everything.
Okay.
Trying to build some core mechanics for like a Final Fantasy based D20 gameplay system. I kind of discovered how difficult it can be to manage some of those concepts of fantasy plus modern. You know, trying to put that into the same area.
Sure.
The most difficult character that I was trying to build was the Red Mage, which they're very classically just your very large web support character. And I decided to build it off of like a gun mage, so that their whole concept is to be able to attach their spells to their ammunition and fire that through a gun, and so on and so forth. And the poor class ended up becoming so broken, and it was just work to have to rebuild it and nerf some concepts about it so that it wouldn't get too overpowered. And then it got to a point where I was like, well, this class is just going to have to be overpowered. Screw it.
Make it an NPC class and you're done.
And it was so much fun to play with, though, having tried to build a Red Mage. There's a expansion. I guess not expansion. I don't know. A D20 Modern set out there called Iron Kingdoms that tried to work with some of that more steampunk ideas. And one of the things that they had in there that I thought was really neat was this ore called Magelock, which was the explanation on how to focus spells through objects like weaponry and them not be susceptible to any hard or any damage. And considering a sword has its own hardness rating, and as you focus spells through it, it's gonna just deteriorate.
Sure.
So they made up Magelock. Negates all of that.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like a overpowered concept.
That was part of the problem with the overpowered concept.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess caveat emptor, buyer beware. If you want to do a universal system, we talked about 66 when we talked with Chris Tregenza, probably about 2 months ago now, or Unbound for that matter. You might end up having to play around with a couple of things here and there, but who knows, that may work for you. You might be kind of I don't want to say rules lawyery kind of person, but a person who enjoys constructing and deconstructing the mechanics of a system of rules.
You'll always find a way to break it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Check it out. If you dig it, back it. If not, that's okay too. All right. Now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole reason why we're here. And that's we're going to talk with Michael Johnson here about online RPG gaming resources to have an accessible place to kind of get, upload, and update other players, maybe people who maybe missed a session, so they could take a look at the adventure journal and see what happened in the session. And like I said at the beginning of the show, you mentioned that you use Obsidian Portal, and there are other services out there. Like I was looking at possibly doing Roll20 for a game that I was going to run, or I know that there's Epic Words, and I'm sure that there's other things out there too. I guess some of the questions that I want to ask, one of them is what drew you to Obsidian Portal?
The first thing that drew me to Obsidian Portal was essentially its ability to be able to manage the resources that I was trying to use and try to just keep together. I had started out working with a WordPress installation that I had built, and which was trying to use that to, as far as my resource management, writing down my characters and artifacts and lore and things like that. And it worked good for some of the things, but not everything. The problem I always faced was being able to link things. And so I was like, oh wait, Wiki can do that. So I started working with the Wiki and had to spend the time to transfer everything over to a Wiki. But the problem I found with a Wiki is that it's difficult to create a sort of blog posting space with a Wiki. Mm-hmm. It doesn't give you. It's not quite made for that purpose. It's literally more for research. Write down your articles. Link them to other articles. It's the best for that. So I tried to build myself a workaround to use both. I could never get anything how I wanted it.
Yeah. Yep.
In the time frame I was looking to try to put things together, so it's gone through many iterations of how I have my information organized. It's been through a series of Google Docs. It's been on just, pen and paper, all kinds of things, and then I kind of stumbled upon Obsidian Portal and started looking at it, and I was like, it gives me a place to post things for updates, like in the adventure log. I can just write straight articles. I can link things through a wiki format and still use wiki code to maneuver everything about, and its abilities to handle like event management, send out invites for events, things like that. It's a great utility for that aspect. The one thing that it doesn't have, which if I remember right, what Roll20 does, is just to be able to gather everyone in a space like Google Hangouts or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
If Roll20 and Obsidian Portal got together and worked on something, as a collaboration, they would own the market. That would be one thing for sure. But I haven't gotten the chance to use Roll20, so I don't really know how all the details behind it work.
Yeah, and I got as far as creating an account and just trying to get a feel of the thing. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is I'm going to do a screen share here.
Sure.
And this is just a basic thing that I put together. Do I have permission to go to your site link that you shared with me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Please, by all means.
So what I want to do is kind of a before and after sort of a thing. This is something that a game that I worked on a while back, and I'm looking to resurrect. And essentially, it's using White Wolf's Hunters Hunted, using the second edition vampire rules for all intents and purposes, and using the Onyx Path updated Hunter's Hunted book for the core equipment and things like that. And for those of you who haven't heard this before, Dirgewood was a kind of a dual time frame. The players are building the history of this organization called Sentinel, where back in the late 1800s, this group got together and experienced some supernatural things. And in current day, this is a continuation, and the characters that they're playing in current day are actually the descendants of the characters that they're playing in the other realm, or the other time period. So it's kind of a dual time period game system, or a game setting.
Okay.
So that's and what you're seeing here, if you're watching us on YouTube, is the layout of Onyx Path for you as a person who is creating your Obsidian Portal page for your game. Now it gives you a kind of a custom URL. You can see here it's dirgewood.com/obsidianportal.com, and this is my dashboard. So this is the setup for me to actually create the campaign. I can create a calendar here to schedule events and alert people who are a part of my gaming group, and right now it's just me, that you can see off on the right-hand side. There's an adventure log here, which is essentially you're blogging and writing about what happened in each of the different campaigns, or the games that you played. You have the ability to put your characters in here. I'm assuming you can load the character sheets as well, Michael. Is that right?
To some degree. The character sheet manager, it will depend on what system you're using, because it has a kind of an ability to support a bunch of different gaming types.
Okay.
The character sheet template that they have available for 5th edition isn't all that great.
Okay.
So I've been kind of working around that by using, what's it called? Orc something or something orc. I have it pulled up on my laptop upstairs. I don't remember the name of it. But there's another resource I use out there to kind of help me arrange character sheets, and I just move that information over to my Obsidian Portal, and it works out really great. But yeah, it does depend on what system you're using, and it gives you the options in your dashboard to be like, what games or what game system are you using? D&D 5th, 4th edition, 3rd edition, and so on and so forth.
Okay, cool. The other thing too is you have the ability to add maps to this as well. It's probably not going to be like Roll20, where in Roll20 you can upload your map and then kind of do a fog of war and have representation of people moving through the map. I'm going to assume that this is just, here's the map.
You can, the way that I understand it works is I only have one map in so far. I have one map, and it shows you like a world map in the style of kind of a Google map.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting. It's
actually, let's jump over
better. I sent you a character invite. Should give you a little bit more access to some of the things in there.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, as you.
That's really kind of cool with this. Okay, yeah.
So I'm assuming that any of the maps kind of give you that that same Google Maps style interface.
Sure.
And it's interesting. You can set up map markers, which I was just kind of playing around with the map markers there. So don't mind the one that's sitting there.
No, that's fine.
But it's pretty interesting how much potential there is to where they're going, and even how much you can do still with it. So.
Sure. No, this is a really, really kind of cool concept, especially being able to drop in markers, which, especially if you're doing this digitally, and if you've got players that are somewhere else, another part of the country or whatever, to have that kind of, you can look at the same place at the same time on a map and have those markers do that.
If you click on that marker, it should bring up it's a city name.
Yep.
And you click on that, it'll take you right to that wiki article for that city.
Oh, okay, sure. There it is, and we are here. And that gives us, this is the kind of a close-up JPEG. Again, for those of you that are listening to the audio version of this, I really recommend you take a look at youtube.com/galacticnetcasts and actually take a look at the video on this, because this is going to be really, really informative. So we've got a more of a blow-up look of your city here, and I like that you've got the little bit of the population size for the city here. And more details about it.
Yep.
And this would also, you've got some keywords here, and you can actually click on the word cities as a tag, and you can see some of the other cities within your map, within your land that you've created here.
Yeah, tag organization becomes really the biggest thing about about Obsidian Portal, and working your links through tag organization. And it's kind of the bread and butter of how to keep things together and not let them get away from you. Sometimes every now and then, like you see over here where you have 2 for Paladin, it's case sensitive. So if you forget which one you set up, it'll do that from time to time. And every now and then I have to go back through and kind of clean out all my tags I'm not supposed to have.
Yep.
It's supposed to be one or the other.
But again, that also kind of brings up another question that I had, is you as the game master really had the keys to this whole setup here. So how much time would you say that you dedicate to cleaning up tags, making sure you have your journal updated? How much does that time does that take for you to keep that up and running and going on a consistent basis?
Oh, far less than I should spend. Because if you check out the adventure log, you'll note that it's kind of not it's a little empty in some parts. And there's actually a whole lot of notes on that particular item on the Parable of the 8 Queens. You can't see them because there's a whole GM section.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That when you're in edit mode, well, not even in edit mode, but when as a GM, you can see all the edit notes there. If you accept those invites, I can make you a code GM.
I think that I did. Yep, my inbox looks clear. I did accept one that you sent.
Okay.
Let me just see if I need to.
Dashboard settings. Players. There you are. Yep. Promote to GM. Promote. Yes. Boom. Okay. Now, there we go.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah.
So there's a whole lot more information that you as a GM, and if you have co-GMs, can add on to there and see that, and so that it gives you a little bit more insight as to where to direct the players if need be, or what other things that you may need to have in your head on where they may or may not be involved with,
or potential side quests, or okay. No, that's a great and mechanic I hadn't even thought of, but yeah, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
So it's proven the GM only notes have proven to be more useful to me so far than having to write down what they've been doing for their game time. And the main reason why I've been slacking on that is just it's trying to keep everything, trying to remember everything, and I should be really like audio recording it, and that would really help out the most. You can even add audio and video to the Obsidian Portal logs, and I think to some level the wiki pages as well.
Oh, okay.
But there are some media assets that you can add and sprinkle around within the system.
Okay. And I kind of jump back to the site that sorry, the portal that I've created for mine, and just so that people can kind of see some of that back end stuff. I didn't want to show off more of your stuff in case any of your players were to watch that and jump in to see some notes or things that they shouldn't see. So we'll just take a look at mine.
Sure.
Now we do have, you've got the basic settings here. Campaign status. Right now I'm just planning, but you can set this up. This is also, and that's the other thing to really kind of talk about too. If you are a GM and you don't care about a face-to-face experience, you can actually use Obsidian Portal to actually recruit people online to play. And that's kind of cool too. Now, if you wanted to just have this be friends or private, and again, if you're looking at the YouTube video, you can see this, you would have to upgrade to their $5 a month Ascendant category, and then you can make things private to just your players, which I would probably end up doing.
And the main reason I have mine set to public is that I like the idea of other people maybe stumbling upon this world that I'm building with the characters, and maybe they see something they like out of it and want to use pieces of it and things like that. Whether it's a map or some rando little story element that works out. So I usually end up keeping mine public for that. Right now I have one in a planning private stage that I'm working on because I don't want anybody to look at it yet. But that's the Final Fantasy one that I'm trying to figure out how to build.
Oh, sure. Yep. So kind of in keeping with that, you can put in your tagline. You can also put in the game system, which if you do have this public, then people can see what, and I'm assuming for search purposes as well, they can see if people think White Wolf is a great system, they can get on board with that. If they think it sucks, they'll just move on. So I'm gonna save that.
I'd thought that it would actually give you options within the game system on things you can choose, but I guess maybe not.
Yeah, I clicked into it and it's not giving me any modals or anything like that.
It might be an Ascendant thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, and I haven't made the final decision to upgrade, but I'm really leaning towards it now. The more I've been looking at this.
Yeah, I mean, if you end up using it a lot for, it's for the very least just keep your notes down in one spot.
Sure.
It makes it much more worthwhile because I think it comes out to like $30 a year.
Yeah. Yep. And that's pretty darn cheap.
Yeah, and you can pay it like annually or monthly, but it's a lot cheaper to pay it annually, and it's $30 for a whole year. It's not bad at all. You pay it once and done. But yeah, it makes it much more worth it to have that ability, and you can change a lot of these customizations that you're looking through right now. You have a lot more available to you on Ascendant on the Ascendant tier.
Yep. And just so people are kind of, I'm sorry to interrupt, just so people are kind of on the same page, if you're checking us out on YouTube, you do have the ability to change the background of the game, or of the portal, to be clear. Why is that important? Especially if you have your game set to public, people can kind of look at, if I were to click Apocalyptic City, people would have a relatively good clue that maybe it's post-apocalyptic, maybe it's urban fantasy, this could be a vampire game, something like that. It kind of helps set the mood and the tone to give people a better idea of what that game system or the game campaign that you're playing is about.
Real quick, I messed up on my generously giving you GM powers, and Ascendant's supposed to be able to support multiple GMs, and it looks like I gave away my powers to you.
Oh, okay. Let me...
Yeah, it's players.
Let me give that back to you here real quick.
And promote to GM.
I almost clicked.
Oh, there it is.
Co-GM. Player.
I met because I clicked on the wrong one.
There you go. There you go.
There we
So
go. Now it's back.
you're back in the driver's seat. I bet you that scared you for a second.
I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Here, check this out. I'm not giving it back to you. No, I wouldn't.
I was not reading the CoGM button. And I found it.
That's all good. So, oh, excuse me. Gosh, all of a sudden my throat's all freaking out here. Especially with you being a web developer designer, what are some things, we've talked about some of the great things about Obsidian Portal. For this particular one, what are some things that you as a designer developer would look at and go, they should really add this, or this user interface they should do maybe this instead? What are some of the cons, I guess, of Obsidian?
Well, the UI is really good. Their calendar system works pretty well. You can set up events and send those out to your players, and I think they can sign up to like an email address, so it'll email them whenever there's an event expected to come up. So that works out really well as far as being able to keep in contact with your players through Obsidian Portal. The only thing that gets me about Obsidian Portal that I wish was better would be the ability to set up templates for page types. Not even necessarily page types, but for, say, character sheets. Because there's no way that I can set up a template for a character sheet. I can use one of the pre-built templates that they have for character sheet setups, and they have some sort of system where you can make one and then it has to go through the submission process, and honestly who knows how long that takes, and I don't have the time to deal with that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the drawback there, that I can't have my own personalized, I want to use this setup to display a visual character sheet for a character and use that.
Sure.
Outside of that, I mean, it's at least for what I need it for, it's pretty flawless.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know, because I work in web development, more troubleshooting at HTML, CSS. Our company uses Python on the back end and Django for templating. I'm sorry. Let's switch that. Python on the back end, Django for templating.
Yeah, Django's your front end whatchamacallit system.
Bounty hunter.
Your oh boy, like jQuery. It's
Drupal or yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot the name of what that's called.
I know. I had the word for just a second to help you out.
But yeah, it's essentially just your platform that uses that code base.
Yep.
Let's see. Do you have group chat open?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. If you check out that link, no, not that link. Oh yeah. No. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. There's two links there. I got confused myself. That link. So Celestine Kavanaugh. That was the rough template that I used for building out my characters now.
Okay.
Because it keeps the information in a concise enough manner that's understandable for the characters, and sort of the back end on that has like that little table set up for the stat block.
Okay.
And borrowed pieces of that while reverse engineering, and it's called OrcPub, which is a pretty good 5th edition character builder that you can use to sort of flesh out using their little online character sheet setup, and it'll print you out a PDF with all your stats on it that you set up on there, or it'll print you out a kind of HTML view that sort of looks like what you're seeing here with Celestine, and you can even I don't think they have a login system yet, but you can save your characters as kind of a sort of a session. So as long as you don't like clear your cache or anything like that, you can get back to them.
Okay.
and it has a few other utilities on OrcPub that are pretty interesting to look at. So I've liked using him to arrange a character without having to physically like write it out. And even with rolling stats, it sort of has a couple stat block setups that you can go through, like roll 4d6, take the lowest one, things like that.
Sure. Okay. Okay. How long, I guess, did you start doing Harbingers of Ragnarok and then get into Obsidian Portal, or did you do Obsidian Portal and you went, oh, well, gosh, I want to do this Harbingers of Ragnarok? Which came first?
In its many names, Harbingers of Ragnarok has come first, and I've been working on that as a game for nearly 10 years now.
Okay.
Built it from scratch. It's probably on its 4th world revision. The overall map hasn't changed too much. But some elements have been added, taken away. And only more in the past 3 years, I've been working with the Norse pantheon as a deity base, because I like the idea of sort of the world tree thing.
Yeah.
And the idea of how their planar system's set up, but I've been trying to set it up so that the planes don't exactly work how D&D sort of decides them. Like Niflheim, for example, is not its own separate plane. It's more of just the Northlands of this world. And so you have your great creatures like the Nidhogg who roams around Niflheim, and there's sort of not quite an undead presence there. I haven't quite figured out how to add them into the world that is interesting and hasn't just been redone over and over and over.
Sure. Yeah.
And then there's on the map, if you caught that big purple line that went across part of the map, that is called the Ginnegap, and that's another Norse word, just basically an empty, infinite void. And that's really what it's supposed to be. Is that it's just a deep crevice canyon that goes into nothingness. And the lore behind that is that it goes into nothingness. It doesn't even go into the world at that point. It's a portal to absolute nothingness.
Oh wow! So it's like a dimensional rift of some sort.
Essentially, yeah, it's a dimensional rift.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that kind of takes part in sort of there's these two opposing minerals that exist on the planet, and it's Niflsite and Azursite. And Azursite is a positively charged mineral, and Niflsite's a negatively charged mineral. And there's a lot more Azursite than Niflsite that you could ever find in the world. And they use the world on the left continent is predominantly human, and they use a lot of the Azursite for technology as far as airship building, and there's rail and all sorts of gizmos and gadgets that are in your relative steampunk style. And Nethicite is kind of sort of an anomaly that someone may or may not run across and do crazy things that I haven't decided yet.
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. All right. So overall, it sounds like you're very high on Obsidian Portal as a way to organize your stuff and keeping everybody informed of what's going on and having an overall resource to just all be on the same page. And if they've got their smartphone on them, they can pull that stuff up as well. You did send OrcPub, and I just wanted to show that to folks here as well. And this is what Michael was talking about. You can create your 5th edition character here. Looks like you can have an image of your character, player name. All pretty straightforward.
The stats part is one of the really neat things, because you can build a character really quickly with their stats. You don't have to work very hard to do it. So if you go for like the rule variant and do, say, like 46, I guess they don't have 46, do they? Well, point buy is really good too, but yes, point buy is your standard 27 points. You can just fit them wherever you need to.
Sure.
But yeah, you can make those really easily and just keep going through, and it'll set up a lot of things automatically for you with how 5th edition works. And then you finish it up, and it gives you a page like, here's your character. Go for it.
Nice. Oh, there we go.
So it'll pre-fill a lot of things for you and help you out as you go through, which is nice.
Yeah, and I'm notorious for Pathfinder for not having my stats quite right for my character.
Stats can be a difficult thing.
I'm absolutely horrible, and I play with a group of people that I'm not so bad that I can't keep rules in my head to the point where it's really annoying. But there are, like, when I level up a character, I'll forget to roll my additional hit points for a level, or I'll forget to add skill points, and I've got that reputation of being that guy, and nobody really likes that guy.
5th edition, no more skill points.
And
which was really weird to kind of wrap my head around how their skill system worked.
Sure.
That it took me a few weeks to figure out what they were trying to do with that, and it's they're more so attaching the skills to your core stats, which kind of a benefit and kind of a drawback at the same time, because it goes back to allowing any character to be to use any stat, but the DM can also essentially make a variant rule to where if you're not proficient in it, then you are automatically at a disadvantage, which in 5th edition means you roll twice and you take the lowest of the 2 rolls.
Oh, okay, yep.
So that's how they kind of mitigate that there. An advantage is essentially the opposite. You roll twice, you take the highest of the 2 rolls.
Oh, okay.
So that was it's a new concept that they added for 5th edition that has actually proved to be more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So.
Yeah, when I first had heard that, I went, that seems really kind of weird, but now as you explain it, that actually sounds just more streamlined and simplified.
Right, and it's meant to work.
Advantage system.
What's that, Glenn?
I love the advantage disadvantage. I like how that works a lot.
Yeah, it works really well with the skills and how they've simplified them now. The skills simplified by themselves are a nightmare without the advantage disadvantage system.
Okay. Well, that's very cool. All right, so it seems like the only cons that you've really kind of found with Obsidian Portal can be kind of filled in essentially with OrcPub, with the template issue.
Right. As far as like stat blocks and character templating, that's really the biggest out of the way I use Obsidian Portal. At least that's the biggest drawback I've found. But I've found another resource to help me out with that, so it's not so bad anymore.
Sure.
Now, again, if I haven't had the chance to use Roll D20 and how it can, I guess, give you a virtual tabletop, from what I understand.
Essentially, yeah. You can load your map in, and like I said earlier, you can kind of do a fog of war. You can actually have representations of the characters. They can move their character. To say, okay, I'm going to go over here.
Okay.
And it's more on it seems to focus a little bit more on the interactive portion, and it's taking into, I think Obsidian Portal is more on the side of face-to-face gameplay, whereas Roll20 really kind of says, okay, you're playing with people that aren't even in the same room, probably not even the same city as you.
Right. And if Roll D20 or Obsidian Portal adopted one of the other's systems, then literally they would just rule all in that respect.
Which means they won't.
Right.
Yeah. I know that Roll20 does have the ability for you to, upload your character sheets and things like that.
Yeah, I see that.
Roll20 also has like a marketplace where you can say you're doing a Western setting. We'll go back to my Dirgewood thing. They have pre-made things where they have characters. Basically, they're like PNGs that you would be able to load in, and then you would be able to say, okay, my character looks like this, and I'm going to move the character over here.
Maps and character sets and things like that, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really more of their focus. While they do have some of the stuff that Obsidian Portal has, I think that Obsidian Portal really shines more on the logging and more I guess what you might consider more face-to-face aspects of organization. So, all right. Well, to wrap things up, if you listeners are looking for a system and a way to organize your RPG gameplay, finding a system like, we've been talking a lot about Obsidian Portal, but that's mostly because that's where Michael's background. He knows the most about this. There are other things. We talked about Roll20 a bit. Epic Words is out there, that exists. So there's a number of different things that are out there to try to help you, the game master and players, come together and organize everything, get it in one place so you don't. And if Jerry's listening, damn it, Jerry, don't lose your character sheets. If you use a system like this, you load the character sheet in there. There it is, and you don't have to worry about.
It does make it pretty easy because the your players in Obsidian Portal can have some level of editing over their own their own page too, which works out really well on that.
Yeah, I see a lot of advantages to using a system like this. So, thank you very much, Michael, for talking to us about this. And
thank you for having me.
I think that you've really kind of swayed me more towards using Obsidian Portal, and then. Because a lot of the people that I would be gaming with would not be in the same room as me, I would probably end up using just Google Hangouts to shore up that portion of it. So, no, I think that's a great way to go. So thank you for your insight. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Going to wrap things up here. You can find out more about our meetings, the show notes for each meeting, contact info, and subscription links by going to gncasts.com/adventure. You can find and follow us on Twitter or join our Facebook group page by using the Facebook search term Galactic Netcasts. You can also find all of our social media outlets by clicking on the links on our website, gncasts.com. You can find our YouTube channel where you can see the video versions of our Adventure Party meetings at youtube.com/galacticnetcasts. If you're using a podcatcher, podcatcher is completely different. If you're using a podcatcher, hey, we've got an RSS feed link that you can grab and drop that into whatever podcatcher you're using. If you're using iTunes or Stitcher, we're definitely on there, and if you would take a moment to give us a review and let us know what you think. iTunes is a star rating. Stitcher is thumbs up, thumbs down per episode. Your reviews, positive or negative, can kind of help shape the Adventure Party and help make it better. Leave us feedback by emailing adventure@gncasts.com, or you can call or text us at 805-328-3966. Again, 805-328-3966. 3966, and you can leave us a text or voice message. If you do text, depending on your particular package, you might end up getting a small fee assigned to that. Galactic Netcasts also has a number of different shows. Weird World Weekly, the very swear-heavy podcast of terror. So we've got a lot of different things that the network offers. You can check that all out at gncasts.com. Again, thank you, Michael, for joining us and talking to us about organizing our RPG stuff in an easy-to-access manner like Obsidian Portal. Where can people find out more about you and Trivia Geeks and anything else you do online?
Well, Trivia Geeks airs Tuesday nights on Twitch. You just look up Twitch TV/Trivia Geek Show. 9:15 p.m. is showtime, and you can also find us on Alphageekradio, Diamondclub. Come by, hang out. Listen to our guests. Answer some funny questions and learn a few things from time to time. And as far as me, I'm on Twitter and also Twitch at Dice Tomato. You can find me there. Throw me a tweet. Watch me play something random. Lately, it's been The Division. Might be picking up a couple other things soon, and I'm also looking at YouTube gaming to kind of move my stream around. So we'll see how things develop there.
Okay, very cool. And we will add that to our show notes so that people can check that out. And once again, I highly recommend Trivia Geeks. It's a very fun show to listen to. So
yeah, we have a good time doing it.
I definitely need to sign up to do it again because it was a great time, and I definitely want to come back. And Carrie was supposed to be the captain essentially for our team. So we had her as a guest on Sci-Fi Geeks Club, and she was just a hoot. So really want to get on her team next time I'm on. So no offense.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, we give you that ability. You go to our show, you go to our guest sign up, you choose your host, and go from there.
No, that's very cool. And once again, if you're listening to us, check out Trivia Geeks. You won't be disappointed. Glenn, still there?
Yeah, I
am. Thanks for joining me once again. Where can people find out more about you, the B-Movie Bunker, and Mist Runner?
You can find me on Facebook. Just follow. You can follow me. You can follow the B-Movie Bunker, or Bunky. If you want to. I'm loose like that. Mist Runner the RPG, or go to YouTube and Guy in a Bunker Productions and B-Movie Bunker, or just follow me on Twitter, Guy in a Bunker.
Yes, and if you do go to Guy in a Bunker on YouTube, definitely check out the horror shorts that Glenn has written, directed, and put together. You won't be disappointed there either. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Adventure Party. May your characters never die and your adventures always be epic. Thank you, and good night.